Hey guys, this is Caden. I'm chronically online, an ADHD freak of a human, and I like music. Maybe just a little bit too much, but not too much, but maybe it's had too much. I apologize for not uploading after my first two. I had another video ready, but it was just really long and it was just me drunk yapping about songs, and I didn't think it was gonna do very well, so I decided not to upload that one, and today we're doing this one, which is another scripted one. I do want to say thank you if you liked the first two. It means a lot to me. I don't want y'all to get upset with me with this abhorrent uploading schedule. I have a full-time job, I'm a musician, and I have a lovely girlfriend. This is a purely passion project for me. I love seeing all the comments and all the discourse in the comments, so I appreciate all the support y'all have shown. Regardless, let's get into the video. Today we're talking about album covers that were ahead of their time. Album art is special. Album art is sacred. I tend to think if an album has an incredible art, I'll be more interested to listen to it. Like, I don't think I would have ever listened to Faith and Persona by Def's Dynamic Shroud or Velocity Design and Comfort if I wasn't insanely drawn in by the crazy album covers. As a graphic designer who creates my own covers, covers are a dying form of music, and I think we need to appreciate it more. If you're an artist, don't go basic, go hire an artist and have them commission a cover for you. Have them paint it, have them design it. Don't use a template on Photoshop or use PixArt. It really sells your music the wrong way. Maybe if it's good enough, it might end up on a video like this one day. Besides the point, I found this list of album covers where these artists stumbled into an aesthetic that wasn't created until decades later. Unless you've seen this list yourself, I highly doubt you've ever heard of any of these albums. They're pretty unknown, but their art sells them. I wonder how a lot of these covers were perceived when they were made and when they were released. And if people thought they were cool or lame. Of course, there are some albums y'all definitely have heard on here, but for the most part, these are real niche underground shit. Alright, without further ado, let's get into it. I'll link the Rate Your Music list that I picked these albums from in the description if y'all want to learn more about them. The first album I want to talk about is Your Turn by Jandek. This was made in 1983, and the cover looks like a 2015 indie Bandcamp release, something that would pop up in a Midwest emo playlist next to Mom Jeans and American Football. It's very liminal, and it has a crazy feel to it. It's classified as an avant folk album, which is cool, and it also is super liminal space looking with all the grain and just the weird photo. I think if this photo ended up on 4chan or Reddit, a lot of people would think it was lost media, and there would probably be a quest to find it, and it probably would have started a creepypasta. I think this photo is really strange, eerie, cool, fits the theming of this album if you've actually listened to it, which I highly doubt you haven't since it's an avant folk album from the 80s. I should post this photo on Reddit, and I bet a community would eat it up. Okay, this one is fucking weird. This is an IDM glitch album that was made a month after I was born, July 2003. Yes, I know, call me an unk in the comments. My back is already hurting. Sometimes when I stand up, my knees pop. But look at this. You already know why it's weird and ahead of its time. Do I even need to say it? You know, I won't say why it's weird because I like the suspense. It's just strange to stumble into this surreal, blocky world that looks eerily similar to this thing who shall not be named. You want to know what's even weirder? C418 was actually on this album. No, I'm just kidding. But that does sound believable, though. I wonder if the artist that made this ever tried to sue the game, because I would have tried. This is crazy close art-wise. I bet Notch saw this and decided that he should make a game like this and just make everything square and not just dogs. It's very strange, it's very weird, just weird how everything matches to the game. I really don't understand it. I want to know how these artists stumbled into it. I want to know the creation of this cover. It is strange, weird, and pretty cool. Okay, the next one, Technique New Order. This was made in 1983. If you combined Floral Shop with Iridescence by Brockhampton, this is probably what it would look like. What's an interesting case is this one is actually from the era where Vaporwave is inspired from a synth pop album from the late 80s. It actually took that like marble stone statue aesthetic and combined it with these weird iridescent patterns and cool colors. I think it's really interesting that these artists decided to mix these two ideas and aesthetics and created this surreal looking cover that's probably, if you saw it, would think it was from the 2010s or even 2020s. I wonder how this cover was perceived when it was released, if people thought it was weird and trippy, or cool and effective, or lame and strange. It's interesting to think about how these album covers were perceived at the time, because a lot of these albums are not known by the public. These are very underground stuff that got ignored in existence that I found on a Rate Your Music list with 5 reviews. Alright, the next one. I Love You Fuck Off by Lucrate Milk from 1987. So you know the early days of like DALL-E 2, the AI generation software made by ChatGPT? like mid to late 2022 when you had to sign up for the beta access to use that AI generation software. Well, this image looks exactly like that era of AI generation. It's very strange, it's very warbly. Why are there so many weird lines in it? Why is there no shadows? Why does it look like that? I have no clue. It looks like if you typed in Dolly, make a Muppet, frog, and baby rave. That's literally what it looks like. It's very weird and strange, and it looks like it's AI. I bet they went into the future to now add that video, had that image generated, and went back and said, look at this. I seriously wonder why they decided to make this the cover. Is the album about frogs in Sesame Street? Is it a post-punk retribution about Sesame Street? And do frogs have something to do with it? Is it Kermit based? I'm not entirely sure what's going on in this photo because I couldn't actually listen to the album. It just sounded really weird and grainy. Apparently it's a pretty underground post-punk album from France. It's just strange. It's weird. I don't really know how someone stumbled onto this. Not sure what else to say about this one. Okay. Teenage Kicks / True Confessions by the Undertones. 1979. Now this is the only single cover on the list, and I only put it on here because it's so bizarre and strange how it looks like this. How is this image made? It looks like Photoshop. It looks exactly like Photoshop, actually. I'm genuinely not sure if this was a remake of an original cover, maybe. It just looks like it's made recently because it fits right in with generic pop punk of the 2000s with these templated covers, the underlinings, the fonts, the colors. It's all just very strange. It looks like it's new. I don't like it one bit. It probably doesn't sound good either, so probably shouldn't listen to it, but it's just an interesting case ahead of its time album cover because how do you even stumble into this aesthetic in the 70s? I don't understand it. It looks exactly like those bland, grainy line work trend two-tone covers that are like so popular with these type of bands. Okay, now this one's pretty cool. I really like this one. The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, self-titled. This was made in June 1968 and features this crazy psychedelic painting on Arthur Brown's crazy wild face with the red font on like his eye. I think it's a really cool look. I think it fits the album. It's a strange artist. It's a strange sound of music. It totally fits. Crazy Arthur could have just had someone paint this on a canvas and have a photo taken of it or a print, but he was so crazy and so wild, he was like, no, paint it on my face and I'll look all crazy and you'll take the photo. The symmetry is awesome on the cover, the color work, the little motion blur that gets added in because you can tell that he's literally just screaming and moving around. This is before the 70s, just a couple years before the psychedelic music wave. So it's pretty ahead of its time, at least by a couple years. I could also see this being a cover to like a post-punk band in the 2000s, just awesomely colorful and strange. I love this kind of shit. Sadly, I bet most of these guys are dead now because it was so long ago, but I love to see how creative some of these artists were back in the day without the mainstream. This is another one of those Photoshop looking covers from the late 70s. This is not available by The Resident. This looks like a Photoshop illustration. It's like very interesting line work and shadow work that had to be drawn like this with like, I'm assuming colored pencils because you can't get this type of art style from painting. You can only get this in digital art and maybe a very, very talented pencil person. A pencil person, a person with pencils. I love how the little hands are like creatures to the goblin lady, like trying to talk to her. I think that's a really cool detail. The gradient of the background is something that's easily made in Photoshop. It is very popular for a lot of styles of graphics. This like shadow work of gradient, that's super popular. You'll see it a lot in like gaming spaces. And somehow they replicated it in the fucking late 70s with pencils. It's just very strange and eerie they stumbled into this art style so early in this time. This album also sounds really cool, and I feel like the cover just fits it super well. Alrighty. We got Matador by Kenny Dorham from 1963. This is seriously surreal art for 1963. And for an album cover, it's freaking sick. I love the shape work and the line work on the face. It's very cool how you get to see the outline of the side profile on the checkerboard pattern. I think using orange for this cover is also a really cool idea. Why didn't they choose another color like red or blue? Why go orange here? Does this album sound orange? I'd hope so. The depth work on the actual outline of the face on the checkerboard pattern is also seriously artistically impressive. Like that requires very talented penmanship to be able to do something like that. That's like Picasso levels. That's like art student levels. They didn't just find like a random dude to paint this. They probably got like a crazy talented artist and paid them for one of their works. Again, what I was talking about earlier in this video, what people should be doing more of nowadays. If you showed this cover to a person, they'd probably think it's some weird experimental album from the 90s or 2000s, but nope. It's from 1963. We've got CQ The Outsiders. I don't know what CQ means, and I don't know how outsider this album is, but the cover definitely looks the part. It's quite literally outside of the box, so I think that's an interesting pun. I love minimalist covers that use colors and basic shapes and patterns and grid work and line work to create these like really surreal, basic looking, aesthetically pleasing covers. The box in the corner is probably supposed to represent what the cover was supposed to be, and it's them going outside of the box. Pretty creative and intuitive for the time, considering this was done with the pen and not like Photoshop or Illustrator. I think it's very impressive of a design, and I really love the look of this cover, especially the use of yellow and black and white. I think those three colors is an awesome color palette. To know it's from 1963 is really cool because it had to be traced or drawn. I don't know. It's just super impressive to know this wasn't made on a computer. All right, here's a really cool one that y'all do know. iAsia by James Ferraro from 2009. Now, is this album cover ahead of its time or just the first of its kind? Regardless, James Ferraro is probably one of the only artists a lot of y'all have ever heard. And this photo is of what city? Chongqing in China or Hong Kong? I don't really know what city it is, but regardless, it's just a really cool photo and a really cool vibe with the pixely like 240p photo. Of course, you have like the fake Photoshop buildings that look almost Egyptian and the surreal cutout fake billboard of Dennis Rodman with the caption, "Just live under it." That's a pretty fucking sick image if you ask me. What a surreal cover. I totally love this album. What an influence to the genre vaporwave has become. What a forefront. It's literally the first of its kind, and it's like 2 years ahead of Floral Shop. James Ferraro was a total genius when it came to his stuff. Please go look at his other album covers if you don't know what I'm talking about. He is seriously one of the coolest surrealist artists I've ever seen. I don't know who does his covers. I know he does some of them, but seriously, he's just got an eye for this shit. It's fucking awesome. Okay, guys, I saved the best for last. This is Argent by Argent. I want you to look at this cover. See the abstract shape work, see the outer glow of the symbol and the text, the line work of the fonts, the styled text at the top and the thick, bold text. This was made in Photoshop, right? Guess how old this album is? Just guess. Just give me a wild guess. Mid-90s, maybe? If not, definitely 80s, right? No. This album wasn't made in the 80s or the 70s. It was made in the 60s. This album was made in 1969, the same year Neil Armstrong went to the moon, supposedly. It's just so crazy. It's super futurist. This had to be made in Photoshop, I feel like. I cannot look at this image and be like, that wasn't made in Photoshop. This album sounds nothing like how the cover looks, sadly. I was really expecting some crazy experimental electronic music from the 60s, maybe like Silver Apples or an early version of AFX, but no, this is just like Pink Floyd mixed with the Beatles. It's just like a progressive rock album. Regardless, I think the cover is amazing, and I want to know so badly how this was made. I couldn't really find anything on the internet, so if you do know, please leave in the comments how this album cover was made. I would love to know. Maybe something with the projector and flashlights, I had to guess. Maybe they like made it with like paper and projectors and lights. That would be my best guess because it doesn't look like a human drew it or traced it or painted it. It doesn't look like that. This album sounds good, but the cover just speaks of its age. It's a feat of creativity. It's like the iPhone of album covers, a first of its kind, an actual style creation. Seriously awesome. I love how much this cover looks like an Aphex Twin album or an IDM album. Seriously awesome. I love this cover. All right, guys, so that's 11 album covers that were really ahead of their time that you've probably never seen before. I hope y'all enjoyed this quick list. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all enjoyed me and my presence. I hope y'all like and subscribe for the future. I want to upload more videos, so please just be patient with me. Like I said, I have a full-time job. I'm a very busy person, so I apologize if y'all have been waiting for a while for my next video, but I seriously appreciate all the support. I can see how much y'all like them. I'm just a busy guy. Anyways, guys, the list of these albums will be in the description. I found it on Rate Your Music. Go check out the rest of the albums. I didn't even talk about half of them. I pick and chose a few of them that I really liked. Anyways, guys, go listen to my music. Go listen to my friends' music. Subscribe to the channel. I hope you'll have a great day tomorrow. Bye-bye.